Numbers are supposed to be universal, right? They're the language of math and should unite us all in logical harmony. Well, that's what I thought too, until I moved to France and found myself surprised by all the ways the French use numbers differently than how we do in the United States. Now in this video, I'm going to break down 5 key ways that the US and France use numbers differently. So whether you're planning to travel, move to France, or you're just curious about how cultures shape even our most fundamental concepts, you'll find this video hopefully interesting and maybe a little eye-opening too. So with that, let's get into it. All right, number 1, counting on our hands. Now, as kids, we learn to count on our hands, 1 for 1, 2 for 2, and so on, except the fingers that we learn on in different countries are not the same. Now, in the US, 1 is our pointer finger here, 2 is right here, and then we go on to 3. But in France, 1 is the thumb, and 2 is like this, and so on. Let me just show you. I'll put up some pictures of Tom, also the hand model. So in the US, we do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. In France, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes 4 is like this, 4, and then 5. So the big difference is 1 with the thumb. So it's a little different. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, can't hold it, and 5. All right, next, the floors of buildings. Now, this is one that really tripped me up when I first arrived in France, and is something I still to this day double check myself on when I'm in the United States and in France too, especially if I'm not using the elevator where all you have to do is press a button with the number, right? That's easy enough. But if you're going to be walking up the stairs, pay attention, because in France, the ground floor at street level that you walk in on, that's considered floor 0 and is the RDC, the rez-de-chaussée. And you'll see RDC on elevators, and that just means the lobby, the ground floor, 0 of the building. The first floor up, that's number 1. Now in the US, the ground floor is the first floor. And if you go up 1 flight of stairs, that's actually the second floor. So you can see very easily how this might confuse either an uninformed tourist or a newcomer to France. And in the early days when I first got here, there were times when I would show up to an appointment, doctor's offices or sometimes 1 or 2 flights up, and even a vacation rental on the wrong floor. And I even knocked on the wrong door once and had a very confused elderly woman in pajamas wondering who the heck woke her up so early. She was not my dentist. Sometimes medical professionals are in residential buildings. You'll learn this difference pretty quickly, but it is one to be aware of just to avoid any awkward situations. All right, number 3, or should I say 3, telling time. Now in France, it's quite common for people to use a 24-hour clock when telling time. So instead of saying an appointment is at 1 p.m., it would be 13 o'clock or 13 heures, 13 hours. Right? There's no AM, there's no PM in French to differentiate. So the 24-hour clock, it makes that clear whether we're talking about a morning appointment or something later in the day. So an appointment at 6 p.m., that's 18 heures, 18 o'clock, and so on. And you'll hear times referred to this, the military time, that 24-hour clock, on TV schedules, when making doctor's appointments, with the secretary, movie times, pretty much everywhere. Now, French people, they do also use the 12-hour clock, but in less formal situations when speaking to other people. But in print, you're going to see this 24-hour clock. It's what's most commonly used, so learn it. And I would say, while it's not completely foreign to Americans, this military time 24-hour clock, it's not widely used in the US because we have AM and PM. So we'll say, let's meet at 8 p.m. or 8 in the evening to be clear, just so people know we're not talking about 8 in the morning. No one would really say 20 o'clock or 2000 hours unless you're in the military or you're just trying to be funny. And when I first moved, although I was familiar with the 24-hour clock, it took me a little practice to learn it like the back of my hand. And I would catch myself writing 6 p.m. for 16 o'clock for 16 heures. That's actually 4 p.m. because I would see the 6 or the 4 for 4 p.m. in 14 heures, which is 2 p.m. because I wasn't paying attention, And I even showed up at an appointment late once because of this. But honestly, after you make the mistake once, you'll learn to confirm and reconfirm an appointment just so you're 100% sure that what you wrote down is indeed the correct time. Something tangentially related about telling time. Someone told me the other day to ask a teen, like under 15 or 16 years old, to read the time on a mechanical watch, one with hands that's not digital, and to see what happens. And I asked my neighbor here in France, and he had no clue how to read a clock with hands. And I guess kids aren't really learning to read actual clocks these days. I remember like when I was in second grade, we would like practice with the board we'd all hold up with the hands of a clock. But I guess kids aren't doing that these days. So if you have a teenager, let me know if they know how to tell time on a clock with hands. All right, number 4, there's a word for 10 of something. So the French have the word for dozen. It's douzaine, just like we do in English. And douze is 12 in French, so that makes sense. Douzaine. But they also have another really handy word to mean 10 of something. The word 10 is dix. So a dizaine instead of douzaine, a dizaine for dix is 10. Now, we don't have a word for 10 of something in English. The word 10, I don't think really lends itself very naturally to a tenzin. But I guess if it existed, the equivalent would be dizaine instead of dozen, using the French word, the root of dix, since the English word dozen does seem to be from the French word douze, 12, dozen, douze. But yeah, maybe I'll start saying dizaine to see if it catches on. I don't know, word etymology experts, let me know about that. All right, number 5, words for 70 and up. They require a little bit of math. So learning French numbers is all fun and games until you get to the number 70. It is, for the record, 70, which is literally 60 and 10. 80 is 80, literally 420. 90 is even more fun. It is 90, 420, 10. You with me? Sometimes even today, I still ask people to repeat their phone numbers. If I'm not 100% confident I got it the first time, because it will go really fast. And if people pause between numbers like 90, are they saying 420, 10, or are they saying 90? Like it could all get slurred together, and even when I am confident that I got the number down right, I ask people to repeat just for good measure. It's good practice. And numbers, I really do find them that tricky. And go figure, in the French-speaking part of Belgium, they have very logical words for 70 and 90, which are 70, is it 70 or 70? I don't know. I've never used the word, and 90, respectively, which take after the Latin root. And surprisingly, I do believe Belgians, they still say 80 for 80. They don't say 80. It doesn't exist. Speaking of numbers, I also covered the metric system, which is a very different way of using numbers, in a video I did here all about things the French calculate differently than Americans, and I hope you enjoy that. So click on over. As always, thank you for watching, and see you back on We in France soon. Salut!